Here is the original cover for this book, and here's the revised cover. It looks like the only thing they did was change Jessi's face.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
This book was written by Anne Martin. We start by learning about the Kids Club. That's a group at the elementary school which does charity work. Gee, I wonder why they weren't mentioned during the school's charity drive in Book 44. Continuity! The Kids Club is run by 2 teachers. One of them is going on vacation for a month for no particular reason. Apparently, teachers in Stony Brook can leave their jobs whenever they want with no advance notice. Who knew? Since the teacher is going to leave, the Kids Club has to be canceled forever. That seems like a weird premise to me. The teacher's coming back in a month, so why cancel the club forever? Can't they restart the Kids Club in November? Anyway, nobody wants the Kids Club to be canceled, so Jessi volunteers to help run it. That conflicts with her babysitting duties, so at the next club meeting, she asks if she can take a month off of babysitting. No, wait, that would make sense. Instead, Jessi tells the girls that they should all stop babysitting entirely and do volunteer work instead.
I had absolutely no idea how the other members of the BSC were going to react to this. Well, I don't usually make major suggestions, us being junior members and all. It occurred to me that Christy might kill me.
Jessi is afraid of being murdered by Christy. That explains the weirdness with the covers. Jessi got a body double to protect herself. Christy and the other girls think it's a great idea to disband the Babysitters Club for a month, and wait, what? They're totally fine with ending the Babysitters Club? That's ridiculous! In the last book, everybody pitched a fit when Mallory stopped babysitting for a week. Continuity! It is later decided that they will not cancel the Babysitters Club forever. Whew! Instead, they're going to give all of this month's jobs to Shannon and Logan. We don't get told how Shannon and Logan react to being forced into 50 jobs without their permission, but I imagine it involved lots of screaming. The next chapter, and the book in general, feels like an advertisement for various charities. Stacy, Marianne, and Mallory mostly get ignored in favor of Claudia, Dawn, and Christy, who each get one chapter. Dawn works with a handicapped girl named Kendra, who's funny and positive. Claudia teaches an art class, where Karen's overactive imagination causes problems. I find it suspicious that Claudia teaching art counts as volunteer experience, considering that she was paid to do it in Book 26, Continuity, and she didn't even have to stop babysitting to do it in that book. Christy works at David Michael's old daycare, and whoa, stop right there. I know for a fact that David Michael did not go to daycare in Book 1. David Michael's babysitter led to the creation of the Babysitters Club. They retell that story in every single book, including page 24 of this one. Continuity! Okay, I'll stop talking about continuity. Anyway, Christy has trouble with crazy kids at the daycare until she's transferred to the baby department. And I realized I've just spent most of this review discussing the subplot. That's because the main plot is pretty skimpy. There's not much to talk about. One of the members of the Kids Club is a girl named Danielle. She just came back after being hospitalized with leukemia for several months. All of the other kids are a little wary of Danielle, but she's just so courageous and positive, Jessi can't help but fall in love with her. Danielle tells Jessi that she has a secret wish. She wants her family to go to Disney World. So Jessi contacts the Make-A-Wish Foundation, only they don't call it the Make-A-Wish Foundation. They changed the name to something else, probably for legal reasons. But here's the weird thing. At the end of the book, there's an ad for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So they were allowed to use the organization's real name in the book, just not in the story. It's weird. Danielle has a play date at Jessi's house where she gets overexerted and she needs to rest. Then there's a cookout at Danielle's house where the family is crazy and Jessi decides, oh yeah, they totally need a vacation. And that's it. Danielle gets a free trip to Disney World and all the kids in school treat her normally after that. What can I say? The thought of meeting Mickey Mouse overcomes the fear of cancer. We finish on a sad note. Danielle has a relapse and goes back to the hospital. Becca and Charlotte are incredibly sad and Jessi helps comfort them. Danielle still remains positive about her chances of survival. Her Disney dream came true. Maybe her dream of living to middle school will come true too. The end. Post-book follow-up. After the story ends, we get the advertisement for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Make-A-Wish gets 4 cents for every copy of this book that gets sold. 4 whole cents! Wow! I worked at the IRS this year, so let me do the math. Each book costs $3, so they donated 12 cents per book. The standard deduction in 1991 was $2,150, so Anne Martin had to sell 18,000 copies of this book in 1991 in order to claim it as a charitable donation and get a sweet, sweet itemized deduction on her Schedule A. As the advertisement says, they made an advance donation to Make-A-Wish prior to selling any books. Their donation allowed a girl with leukemia to go to Disney World with her family. And wait a minute, that's the storyline of this book! Did they really turn a charitable donation into a BSC book? Were they that desperate for book ideas? I saved money on my taxes this year. Great! Let's turn that into a book for middle schoolers. All joking aside, this book is a good idea. It is nice and inspiring, and it actively encourages readers to do volunteer work. I don't want to be negative about a book with such a positive message, but I found it to be slow and boring. Like the Aunt Cecilia book, the main character doesn't show up until halfway through, so you can kind of skip half the book and miss nothing. The half of the book with Danielle has some chapters that are light on content. Like one chapter that is just postcards from Disney World. And there are 2 chapters where the girls play while Jessi waits to hear back from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm sorry, 2 back-to-back chapters of Jessi waiting for a phone call is not interesting material. There's also the problem that this book feels like a repeat of book 16, because the general story is that Jessi watches an inspiring child who overcomes hardships with positivity. As I said, the book is a good idea. I think it could be salvaged if the 2 plot lines were swapped. Condense 3 or 4 of Danielle's chapters and replace them with chapters about the babysitters volunteering. Specifically, Stacy, Marianne, and Mallory deserve to have their own volunteer chapters, like the other girls did. Overall, it's not a good book, although it has a good message and a good premise, plus a sad but realistic ending. Maybe the problem is I just didn't accept the premise of the entire book, which is that all the girls are eager to cancel the Babysitters Club because a teacher took an unscheduled vacation. Not one of their teachers, some unrelated teacher took a vacation. We're canceling the Babysitters Club. I'm sorry, that's not a good premise for a BSC book. That's a premise for Christie's nightmares. So the book lost me at the start and never quite got me back afterwards. I give Babysitters Club number 48, Jessi's Wish, a 2 out of 10.